And I want to call out my friend of 10 years now, Reza, the former Crown Prince of Iran. And I say former, by the way, because we in this room, we don't accept the legitimacy of this regime.
If only His Royal Highness was now in charge of Iran, we would be living in a very different world. And I think we all hope that someday that dream will become a reality. That belief will become a reality. There must be regime change in Iran. As His Royal Highness said, the head of the octopus survives when its arms are cut off. In fact, the arms of an octopus regrow.
The ultimate decision that now is the time to get this done. And I know from my visit to Israel that I'm sure our Israeli friends understand that. Some key countries in the region understand that.
And I want to call out my friend of 10 years now, Reza, the former Crown Prince of Iran. And I say former, by the way, because we in this room, we don't accept the legitimacy of this regime. We don't accept their revolution, and we don't accept their xenophobia, and we don't accept their vicious anti-Semitism, and we don't accept their designs on the state of Israel today. And so permit me, Your Majesty, the line of the night was regime change needs to happen in that country, and that's something we pray. We pray that the brave people of Iran will soon have a government worthy of them. That's our prayer. I have to take a point of personal privilege and say something about the Pehlevi dynasty, because one of the topics, sadly, that we will have to address tonight is the vicious scourge of anti-Semitism. Well, we know anti-Semitism isn't new, and so let me tell you a story. The year was 1948, and a little girl in Iraq, a toddler really, remembers that there was a knock at the door. She remembers that it was early in the morning. Her father still had shaving cream on his face. He was still shaving. And he opened the door, and there he was taken. He was taken because he was a prominent Jew in the community. He was arrested, paraded through the streets in leg irons, and he was thrown in prison. That toddler is my mother, and the man who was arrested and thrown into prison is my grandfather. For 2 years, my family visited him in prison, until he finally said, don't wait for me. Leave me here, you flee. Flee, run. Seek safety and seek freedom. And so my grandmother, my mother, and my uncle, who was just born, a baby, fled across the border. You know what border that is? They fled across the border to Iran, because Your Majesty's father, His late Majesty, was giving asylum to every Jew who escaped Iraq, just like he had rescued Jews from the Holocaust and gave asylum to refugees from Europe. That was the Iran then. And so when Miriam said so beautifully that Cyrus had rescued our family from Babylon, let me tell you that your family rescued my family from Babylon. Thank you.
As we sit here tonight, there is a real risk. American intelligence has warned Israel that for the first time, Iran may not be using subordinates and surrogates like Hezbollah and Hamas and the Houthis. They may actually directly attack Israel. That is a possibility if only His Royal Highness was now in charge of Iran. We would be living in a very different world. And I think we all hope that someday that dream will become a reality. That belief will become a reality. There must be regime change in Iran. As His Royal Highness said, the head of the octopus survives when its arms are cut off. In fact, the arms of an octopus regrow. And we cannot allow only the surrogates to be punished. They have to be dismantled. We have to dismantle Hamas and Hezbollah and the Houthis. But there must also be regime change in Iran, and anything that we can do to bring that about will be obviously in the interest of America and the interest of Israel and the interest of world peace.
You know, I often use this analogy. I said, look, Our work would have been quite different had we not had during the Second World War Roosevelt in Washington and Winston Churchill in London. We would not have had such an easy end to the Soviet Union had it not been for Ronald Reagan and Margaret Thatcher. But today when we have Vladimir Putin in Moscow and Xi in Beijing, what's countering it in the Western world in terms of the affirmative leadership? That's, I think, a little bit part of the problem. And that's the part that perhaps is missing. I'm trying to offer the absent leadership that Iran needed, and I'm happy to step in right now at the request and demand of my fellow compatriots to play that role of transition for them. And to make sure that some of the key countries who see eye to eye with this vision make the ultimate decision that now is the time to get this done. And I know from my visit to Israel that I'm sure our Israeli friends understand that. Some key countries in the region understand that. In fact, they're frustrated from the inaction coming from what we have right now. That's the part that needs to be changed. So I play as much as I can my part, understand what I'm trying to do. I will certainly hope to rely on your help and assistance, and together perhaps we can convince the rest of the world, particularly the Western free world, that this is time for you to abandon the idea of negotiating a deal with the regime. The time has come to liberate the country and down in our most natural life.
آنچه دیدید و شنیدید به ترتیب بخشایی از سخنان آلن کار، مدیرعامل شورای اسراییل و آمریکا و فرستاده ویژه برای نظارت و مبارزه با یهودستیزی در دوران ریاست جمهوری دونالد ترامپ، پروفسور درشویتز از برجسته ترین وکلای بلندپایه آمریکایی و شاهزاده رضا پهلوی در کنفرانس شورای اسراییلی-آمریکایی موسوم به IAC در شهر لاس امریکاست. همکاران ما در مجموعه یونیکا تمام تلاش خود را به کار بستند تا تصاویر با کیفیت‌تر و جامع‌تری از این کنفرانس مهم که در تاریخ 11 ماه جاری میلادی برگزار شده به دست آورند، اما تلاش‌های ما تا این لحظه بی‌نتیجه مانده و این تمام آن چیزی است که کاملا جسته و گریخته از این کنفرانس در رسانه‌های اجتماعی منتشر شده است. با این حال ما به تلاش و رایزنی‌هایمان برای به دست آوردن نسخه کامل سخنرانی این سخنرانان به ویژه شاهزاده رضا پهلوی در این کنفرانس ادامه خواهیم داد و در صورت موفقیت نسخه کامل آن را همراه با زیرنویس فارسی با شما دنبال کنندگان به اشتراک خواهیم گذاشت.